Hey guys, Joshy here, BJ on Game Day. I've made my way back to Queensland, so another video here with just myself. We're going to do a third Pimp My Team episode. So I've had a few more videos, a few more teams come through Facebook in the last sort of 24 to 48 hours. So we've decided to jump on for one final episode of Pimp My Team, but that'll be it. So the first couple of episodes we went through about sort of 6 or 7 teams. We're going to do 8 teams in this episode. So it's going to be nice and busy, but it'll be nice and quick as well. So a lot of the teams, similar kind of sort of scenarios we've seen in the first couple of videos. So it will be nice and easy to run through those. But guys, thanks very much for tuning in to the team reveals. It was great to head down to Canberra and catch up with Brent and Bogan. We've had plenty of responses already to those, which is absolutely fantastic. Huge effort there with the likes, subscribes, and all the traction we've got on Facebook as well. So keep that up, guys. Remember to like and share, and really, really appreciate it all. But Bogan, mate, let's jump into these 8 teams. So we're going to run through these 8 teams as we have done so far. Who we got up first, Bogan? All right, so Dean Peters. So Dino is Pete Top, Kevin Bottom, now PTKB. We've had him in the league for a couple of seasons now, so good to have his mate Dino on board, and we're just going to have a look at his team here. Now, similar sort of 9 combination with the Appy Coruscant and Blake Brayley. We've got Payne Haas in the front row there. Probably a new name that we haven't seen before in Tommy Burgess. Very, very hard to pick this guy when he doesn't have, I guess, the likes of George Burgess there. Sam Burgess is gone now as well, so he is the sole brother left at the Bunnies. But in that sense, he will have to step up. He's going to actually have to have a blinder of a season, otherwise the Bunnies are going to get dominated up front. So, look, from a Supercoach point of view, I don't mind it. I probably think there's other ways, Dino, that you can get some better players in there. Really, really big fan of your back line here. Your back row here in Tamalolo, James Fisher-Harris. Again, probably not too many teams we've talked about so far have got him in there. Dual status with second row, front row. I do like this a lot. And then, look, a little bit of a weaker lock in there in Luciano Leilua. But you have loaded up a little bit on the bench there with Jack Williams from the Sharkies. He looks fantastic, mate. I really like this pick. I had him in my initial side back when the first team picker came out. Unfortunately, at $397K, just a little bit awkwardly priced. I've gone a couple of cheaper options there. So, mate, do like that back row. We've spoken about Joshy Curran and Flegler before as well. Let's jump into your back line here, mate. And, look, my biggest concern here is Kyle Flanagan. I don't know how quickly he's going to adjust into the Roosters squad. And I guess, all those different sort of combinations and how he sort of, develops those. Obviously, Keary is predominantly a left-hand side player and Flanagan is a right side player. So that does work out quite well. But I just think, look, I'd even maybe, downgrade a George Williams, to maybe someone who's a 170K player, whether it's an NPR or someone like that, and use the extra cash there to bump up Flanagan to maybe an SJ or a Cleary or something. A Keary or someone like that. Look, pretty solid here in your back line with Jack Bird, Braden Burns. Really, really liking that. Like a few other people at the moment, we're just a little bit unsure of who's going to be those bench centre wingers. Now, we can see there you've got the 2 gun fullbacks in Kalen Ponga and Pappenhausen. Look, this is exactly why I went to Caleb Aikens. I sacrificed that gun fullback or that second gun fullback just to balance out my centre wingers a little bit more because Xavier Coates, it looked like, won't play. And your 2 cheaper players there in Tavita Funa and Greg Lalesio, again, they're not going to get spots. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3 guys there who are very, very unlikely to play. But very, very solid for the rest of the team, mate. I'd probably just move out Kyle Flanagan. Who we got for second up, Bogan?
Well, before we move on, Joshy, I thought we'd do one more thing. Another surprise feature.
Yep.
For these teams, because we're pimping.
Yes.
I would like you to choose one bottom bitch. So the bottom bitch is the top player. They get a diamond. They're the top pick of the team.
Yeah.
And then you've got a low-down, filthy hoe that doesn't make a pimp happy, and they get a pimp hand. So, of that team, who's the best player and who's the worst, basically? But the top bitch and the filthy hoe. The bottom bitch, which is a pimp term, and the filthy hoe. So who's the bottom bitch of this team?
Is that the good one or the bad one?
The good one is the bottom bitch.
Why do they call it a bottom bitch?
I don't know. You have to ask a pimp. That's not me. Ask Brent next time you're talking to him.
All right, we'll jump back to the forwards, mate, because, look, most of these teams, are going to have Payne Haas there. So he's definitely...
sorry, I'm just going to...
He's... look, Payne Haas there. And I'm going to go the other front rower there next to him in Tommy Burgess. He's got 4 players to Noah Brown that probably will join the back line in not playing, so he's going to have to do something there. But what's your other term? So you got bottom bitch and what?
And I did say filthy hoe, but that's a bit derogatory. But just the worst player, if you got rid of one player, which one?
Mate, if we're going to bring up pimp terms, we may as well go filthy hoe. Tommy Burgess with the filthy hoe. So yeah. All right. Let's start with that count, mate.
So Payne Haas gets a diamond, and Tom Burgess gets the pimp hand.
There you go. Done.
Next team, second team. I've forgotten his name. I've just got it written as Governor.
How does that help me?
Oh, because his name was something Governor. Hold on, I will.
Grosvenor.
Oh,
Jason Grosvenor.
Sorry.
Oh, Governor, you fucking dyslexic bastard.
I'm fucking tired, Josh. I was editing for 24 hours straight.
Right. I'm trying to get in here close. Who's that hooker, mate? I can't.
Hodgson and Brayley.
Hodgson and Brayley. Okay, so this is probably a new combination we haven't seen so far. Joshy Hodgson and Blake Brayley. Look, we spoke early on in the videos about the combination that Josh Hodgson might form with George Williams at the Raiders. So I'm definitely not against this. Blake Brayley, as we know, will make some money. Look, the hard one with Josh Hodgson is if you're going to go away from blokes like your Appy Coruscant and that, is it worth going someone like him who's 500, or do you just go straight to the top and cook it at 700? So I do like it, but I'd want to see a big return to form before I put him in there. Really, really solid front row there. Payne Haas, David Clemmer. Everything I'm seeing here, mate, I'm actually liking across the board. Back row is awesome with Nathan Brown there. He's another new one we haven't seen. Mitch Moses and Nathan Cleary. If I probably look at this team, he's going to have some very, very weak centre wingers as soon as we turn the page, because you've gone a second gun in your halfbacks and you've gone a semi-gun in your number 9 spot. So you're going to be hurting a little bit in the centre wingers. Let's have a look there, mate. That's probably where we can fix up the most. Oh, geez. Okay, so, all right. So you've gone a little bit weaker in your 5'8". So instead of having that genuine 5'8", which would be SJ or probably Keary, you've played Cleary as the backup half and you've gone George Williams. So, look, nothing wrong with that, mate. I do like it. Burton there on the bench may or may not get a spot for the Penny Panthers. I think you've got a few place fillers here, mate, and this is probably, like I said, where the weakness will be. With no Faluma there, look, 600K, a lot of money to spend. We know he's the absolute base beast. Really, the other 6 spots in your centre wings there, these will stay the same, or come Team List Tuesday, you'll basically change to the cheapest guys out there. If you want to keep the structure of your team, you're going to change to the cheapest guys out there that are available in your centre wings. You are going to give up points here in the centre wings. It's as simple as that. All of these guys, these 6 guys, let's say they all get named round 1. 4 out of these 6 will score under 20 points. It's just how it's going to be. There's nothing really more there. They're not superstars yet. They don't have confirmed places. So Stafford Tom, Morgan Harper, Abbas Miski, these 3, Morgan Harper is probably the one I like the most, and Xavier Coates on the bench, the other 4 I'd dump. And then you've obviously got a lot of money there in your fullback in Tedesco and Pappenhausen. So, mate, overall, great team. There's 2 things. I'm struggling to see where you generate the money from because you've got such guns in your team already. So where does the money come from that the 9.8 million salary turns into 12, 13 million? Because, as I say, your centre wingers, I think there's really going to struggle to get spots. So if there's no cash generation there, mate, I think you're going to be hurting round 3 when everyone else starts to jump up in money and you haven't got any there to upgrade these players. So what I'd be doing, mate, is probably sacrificing. Look, it's hard. It's hard. But whether it's Tedesco that gets sacrificed, whether you want to keep him, sacrifice Pappenhausen, whether you move Hodgson to Coruscant. But what we're going to do, let's go someone. Do you want me to go someone different each time, mate? Or do you want me to go for your pimp hand and your diamond?
It would be nice if you went someone different for the viewers' sake.
All right.
I was going to ask, does this mean you would give a gun the pimp hand in this case?
Fuck if I know. You're the one telling the story.
Well, would you
I haven't got a clue.
Would you get rid of a gun? If you had this team, would you get rid of a gun to be able to bring in some cash cow instead?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I would find a way to sacrifice, because what I find is, let's use this example. And I'm going to use an example that I've used because it's familiar to me with Caleb Aikens. So Aikens is going to be the starting fullback at Penrith for probably about the next 6 to 7 weeks. He's 250k and Tedesco is 790k. So I've switched those around. I've dropped Tedesco and I've gone with Caleb Aikens. So it's made me 550k that I can then distribute through my centres and wings. Now, follow me here. If I talk about 4 of these centre wingers scoring under 20 points or even under 30 points, Tedesco, let's say he scores 100. Now, Caleb Aikens, I reckon, is probably good for about sort of 50 to 60. So you've got a points differential there of, let's say, minus 50. What I do think from players in your centre wings is that you're going to get a better benefit. So I reckon if you brought in 3 players that are all sort of 450, 500k, so we talked about Sivo, we've talked about Jesse Raymond, I think at least one of those guys will turn up as well. Taking the risk in picking the right player, I think one of those will turn up and the other 2 will score sort of 50 or 60. So I think in the centre wings, you're going to get a net gain of around 100 to 120 points by adding that money onto them. And I think you'll have a net loss of about 50 points if you change out your fullback from Tedesco to Aikens. So what you're also going to get is maybe some cash generation in those right centre wingers. But also, let's say Teddy fails. Let's say for the first 2 weeks, Teddy fails and only scores 40 or 50 points. You're not going to be someone who loses 40 or 50k. Now, it's a lot harder then to get him in because round 3, you're not going to have anywhere near the right amount of money to bring in Teddy. So that's the risk. So yes, round 1, maybe a net gain, but do you have that same net gain or that change around over the next 7 or 8 weeks? And this is the balance of Supercoach and how you get it right. So some risk for some reward.
So just on that, so you're giving Tedesco the pimp hand in this case.
Yep.
So is Teddy what you'd probably call an early season trap?
Oh, mate, you can't call the best player in the game a trap.
Well,
but it just depends
in the early weeks, though. 750,000. He's fucking expensive. I'm seeing that
he's 790.
Yeah, well, that's even worse. Most of the pundits, you'd call them, aren't picking Teddy for that reason, but would look to get him in later on in the season, obviously.
I will say, mate, his ownership at the moment is at about 30%, which for a fullback at that price is huge. Considering you've got someone like Turbo, so Tom Trebojevic at 715k is at about 12 or 13% ownership. So he's probably got the highest ceiling, Turbo. He is the highest scoring player in the game of all time. Mm-hmm. So there's arguments there that he's got the higher ceiling, but Teddy's probably got the more consistency or less injury prone. I mean, even if you went Teddy down to Turbo, so Teddy to Turbo, save 80 grand and spend 80 grand on, a centre. So I'm going to give the pimp hand to Tedesco. That's the bad one, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to go to your halfback in Mitch Moses to get the diamond. Spoke about it in the team reveal a few days ago, and Absolutely love this guy. It's taken him a while to warm up, but if he can match up that form that he showed last year, and I can't see why not. He's had those sort of early years in his career where he has been a bit inconsistent. I think that's gone now. So, yeah, Mitch Moses gets the diamond. Who's up third, mate? Lachlan Cash. All right, so Lockie's had a chat on a few on Facebook with me, and I think he's commented on a couple of the pages with regards to the YouTube channel and things like that. So, look, fairly common there through what we see at the top. He is one that's got Liam Knight in there, so I've bagged it out. But, you know, at the end of the day, you're following a lot of other people. So if you do go wrong, it won't be too bad because you won't have missed out on a pod. Look, I like the back row. I like the bench back row with Tarpanay, Sewer and Kolomatangi. Pretty standard there in the halfback. So nothing I can fix here too early, Lockie. Let's jump over to the back row, back line.
You had some pretty strong opinions on Liam Knight the other night. I noticed that you skipped. Are you
fucking trying to start me? Are you trying to start me?
I noticed you skipped past his prop forwards there.
You want to fucking start? All right. No. We'll get to him. We've got 6 other teams. He's probably in 6 of those as well, so he'll get his chance. Put it this way: he's going to get a pimp hand at some stage. I tell you, he will get a fucking slapping.
And can we just confirm that Payne Haas is the ultimate must-have at the moment?
Okay, let's look at this in a different way, right? Absolutely is the ultimate must-have. Now, we spoke about it in the team reveal. 20 games last year, 18 games over 60. Averaged, what did he average? 75 or 76, I think, for the season. Now, we spoke about it last year where I made a comment at the start of the year that put the captain on Teddy and just set and forget. Now, Teddy averaged 84. I didn't do that. I think my captain for the year averaged 60. So, you know, how many rounds are we? We're 25 rounds. Let's say he plays 22 because of Origin. Times that by 20 difference, that's 400 points. Double that, you're looking at 800 points extra for the season if you had it just captain Teddy. You get the same effect out of Payne Haas. The workload is there all the time. What you're not going to get is obviously inconsistency in scores. So there'll be some weeks where you jump up a lot more because with Teddy as a captain, if he scores 130 or 140, but then the weeks where Teddy scores 40 and they do come about, Payne Haas is still scoring 80 or 90. So for head-to-head players, I think he's probably you probably change your captain a little bit more. But yeah, is he the ultimate player to have? Absolutely. In Classic? Absolutely. Definitely. So let's jump over the back line there, mate. Yeah, Moses and George Williams there. Yep, we've got that. So, yeah, mate, pretty solid there team there, Lockie. Okay, so actually, I spoke to Lockie on Facebook about this. The 2 biggest weaknesses here, and again, he's done what I've sort of talked about with Aikens there at fullback, and he looks pretty solid with Fergo, Joey Leilua, Jesse Ramian, and Zach Lomax. Now, Fergo, we know he can ton up. We know Parramatta have got an easy draw early on. Joey Leilua showed that he's still as damaging as ever for the West Tigers in the trial, so he can repeat that form. Jesse Ramian has plenty of blow-up potential. So, yeah, that's sort of where we look at. Let's say these guys score 200 between them. Well, Teddy's only ever going to score 100, So, just that net gain and trying to find that right sort of combination. But the 2 guys here that I'd probably say to Lockie is to get rid of. One's Brent Hampton. Ben Hampton. Definitely get rid of Brent Hampton, mate. He is no good. Absolutely
I was going to mention that every time that I see someone picking Ben Hampton, I think of Brent Hampton sitting on the bench mumbling in a Cowboys jersey.
Mate, absolutely. I've thought it a few times as well. And Tommy Eisenhuth. Now, I don't mind Fui Mayono there because it looks like he'll probably get a bench spot at the Dragons just with a few injury concerns they've got. And he's looked great in the trials. Definitely passed the eye test there. But whether you've gone these guys because of those sort of dual positions, I'm not too sure. Tommy Eisenhuth, look, I just don't think he's going to get the minutes off the bench at the Storm. I think he may be there in round 1, but if he plays more than 20 or 25 minutes, you're just not going to see a good enough price rise out of him. So I just think he's taken up a position that someone else could be just as effective as. And Ben Hampton, look, he's a great utility, very, very much like Kurt Mann, where they can sort of play all over the park, fullback, centre. He can play in the halves. He's done that. Obviously, he came out of that Melbourne Storm system a few years back now. Can play hooker if he needed to. So he's just never really shown any kind of Supercoach potential whatsoever, and I don't see that changing. So I'd be maybe looking more towards an up-and-coming young player. Look, I'd probably give more upside there to Eisenhuth than I do Hampton. So there you go. Pimp hand for Hampton, yep.
And the diamond goes to...
Mate, just go back for me. Go back to the...
Sorry.
I think I'm going to... What? That's wrong. What the...
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the diamond. Look, your premier back rower there in Jason Taumalolo. Look, plenty of people starting the season with him. This is probably one place I can see myself going a little bit backwards, is in not having Taumalolo. So I just don't have the cash to get him in there. I could probably downgrade Brodie Croft to go to another half, but it just means sacrificing someone, in the back row that I really, really like as well. So, diamond for Taumalolo and the pimp hand for Ben Hampton. Next team, who we got? Yeah, actually, I saw this today. I thought, this bloke's a good bloke. Awesome there that he's got Jake Trbojevic, and I think now that I remember the conversation I had with him, Jake Trbojevic is in there, and he's got Esan Masters in there as well in the back line, which I love, but he had a really, really weak centre wing bench. So I love everything else.
Sorry, my mic was off then too, Joshy. This is Liam McCarthy's team.
Liam McCarthy, yeah. So we had a chat a bit earlier today. And, yeah, look, I love everything I see here. The only one there is Ola Katu. He's not going to get a spot. I think I spoke to Liam about this earlier today. The biggest weakness here was the amount of non-playing reserves he's going to have come Team List Tuesday. So Ola Katu probably won't get a spot, and if he does, it won't be for more than a week or two. You've got Trbojevic in there, Jake Trbojevic, that is, and Gerbo. Talk is that he'll come back for round one, so that's good. But you're giving up a little bit here on your bench, mate. Cooper Johns, Ola Katu. Jump over the back line for me, Bogan. Ben Trbojevic, Hamiso Tabusai Fadau, however you say his name, and Greg Lulesio. Now, out of those five guys, they're probably not going to get spots. So add in as well, you've got Xavier Coates in your back line there, who, again, the talk is that Jesse Arthurs will get the spot over him. And that's probably 6 players that you've got as NPRs, mate. You can't have that many. So because you've splurged that a little bit extra cash for Gerbo, you've got Tommy Turbo in there, which is great. Awesome pod. Pappenhausen as well. So you've really stacked up there. Again, we sort of try and talk about that balance to get cash generation as well as players who score well. I think it's just a little bit out of whack at the moment, mate. So some really strong players, but the balance is just off. So look at those 6 players that I mentioned and how you can address those guys you don't need 25 starting players. A lot of people are talking about having 25. You don't need 25. You can probably get away with 22 or 23. 22 at the least. Like anything less than that, you're doing yourself a disservice. But what I would make sure is if they're in that sort of 3 players that don't play, make sure they're going to get a spot eventually. So, your Bradman Best, Greg Lulesio. Out of those 6, Xavier Coates and Greg Lulesio are probably the 2 that get the most chance of playing. Ola Katu, Cooper Johns, Hamiso Tebus, fucking whatever his name is, and Ben Trbojevic aren't going to get spots, mate. So, yeah. Let's go. Mate, I'm going to give the diamond to Luke Keary. I really, really like Luke Keary this year. We spoke about him on the team reveal. Definitely he gets that one there. I'm going to give the pimp hand. Look, I don't want to give it to a cheapie. These blokes haven't even played first grade yet. Look, I've got to give the pimp hand to... Oh, God. Yeah, you can't really say. There's not even any money there. Benny Trebojevic. Let's give the pimp hand to Ben Trebojevic. The reason being is this guy is actually not even in the Manly top 30 squad, right? So if you're not in the top 30 squad, you actually can't even play in the NRL. So they could have 10 blokes injured, and this bloke's not allowed to play unless he gets a clearance from the NRL to actually do so. So the fact that he's out of the 30 there, which Hamasai fucking Tabuso, I don't know what his name is, for now, he is as well. So, mate, let's give Benny Trebojevic the pimp hand. Who we got next, mate?
Matty Titan.
All right, Matty Titan. Yeah, another one. So Matty actually sent me through a couple of teams. I've picked this one just because I didn't want to put up multiple teams for people. So Matty sent me through this about a week ago. So, mate, I do apologise about the delay, mate, but obviously we've had a few other videos coming out since that second Pimp My Team one. But, mate, we got there eventually. Look, Cam Smith in, the number 9 spot. Solid, mate. We spoke about Cam Smith in the team reveal very briefly. We got in a little bit of trouble for digressing, but we're allowed to in this video. Look, Cam Smith, solid. Greatest player in the game, or greatest hooker in the game there ever has been, arguably. So for super coaches, the question remains of whether he can be as effective this year as he has been in past years. As I mentioned to Brent over the video last night or Wednesday, he still has that absolute urge to be the best player in the game, to play more minutes, more games than anyone else. So if he does get hooked after 60 or 70 minutes, which Craig Bellamy said that he's going to do, it'll only be in a game where Melbourne Storm are absolutely in control. So chances are that he's already scored 80 or 100 by then. Yeah, unfortunately, you won't get the 120 or the 140 out of him that we have seen in past seasons, but it'll still be a good score come that week. Front rower here in Aiden Tolman. Very, very nice. I had Aiden Tolman and Alex Twal last year. Both these guys just absolute workhorses. Unfortunately, they only sort of average in the high 50s, so I think Tolman's got that 58 average. I'd love to see it just that little bit more. They're just a little bit one-dimensional, Tolman and Twal. There's not really any offloads there. There's not too many tackle breaks. Yes, they're going to make 40 tackles a game. Yes, they're going to make 20 hit-ups, but that's basically the extent. So if you get any penalties out of them, any sin bins, any errors, that's just going to drop down that little bit, but not too bad. Mate, yeah, not too bad with your back row here. Obviously, you've gone a little bit cheaper in Jaden Sewer on the starting spot with Jack Williams and Joseph Tarpanay on the bench. So, but yeah, a nice balance there, and I think those three guys will make a lot of money. So that's probably the avenue I'd prefer with, than a couple of the other teams we've spoken about so far. Jump over the back line there, mate. Okay, so Mitch Moses, yep, nice. SJ, nice. We spoke about Metcalf. Look, he had probably one of the worst trials I've ever seen against Cronulla there last weekend. He dropped the ball left, right and centre. He looked dangerous at times if he could actually hold the ball, but there you go. So I'd actually be getting rid of him and seeing what you can come up with. Look, your back line here, Jack Bird solid. Ramian, we've spoken about him. Xavier Coates, again, we're not probably going to see him first round. All right, now here's what I want to speak about. Gehamat Shibasaki. I'm not a fan. I know that Tommy Sangster, all these Supercoach guru guys are talking him up. He's going to get a spot at the Knights now due to injury. The argument is that if he performs well, whether he holds that spot and Bradman Best doesn't get back in. What I would say is he really hasn't shown anything too Supercoach relevant, even at the Broncos. Now, I don't know why that's going to change. I don't know why the thoughts are from a lot of people, that anything's going to change there. So, look, yeah, I can't have him, but I know plenty of people out there have got him. Your bench there, look, I am a big fan of Morgan Harper, but again, I'm not too sure he's going to get the spot in round one. Harley Smith-Shields, so since obviously you've sent this through, Curtis Scott has been cleared to play in round one, so he is definitely a no-no. He will not get a spot there. And Lalesio may be the same, probably won't get a spot in round one for the Titans. Interesting one here with your bench fullback in Moses Mbai. Out for 2 to 4 weeks due to a knee complaint, medial ligament, or not medial ligament, one of those MCLs or something like that. So what we'll see is him back in about round 3 or 4. So you can probably have someone else in there. Considering you don't have him in there, I'd probably put Lomax there and use the extra 50K that you'd make out of that to upgrade one of the other guys in the centre wings. Mate, I'm going to give the diamond to SJ. Sean Johnson, look, didn't have the best nines, but we know he's an absolute superstar. He's got more X factor than anyone else really in the comp, except for maybe Kalen Ponga. So yeah, this guy, he's definitely a diamond. I'm going to give the pimp hand the slap absolutely to Shibasaki.
Is that just because you don't like Sangster, or?
Oh, mate, it's not that I don't like Sangster. It's just that I think I'm better than him. Dave Campbell, Rob Sutherland, all these other friggin' monkeys are on these Supercoach pages. Me and Brent, mate, we've just got it over the top of them. We've just got class and, they're shit. Anyway, ran over. So, yeah, Shibasaki gets the pimp hand. Who we got next, mate?
Mitchell Stark.
Mitchell Stark, the cricketer. No, it's not actually the cricketer. It's Stark with a K. So, straight out of Game of Thrones. Fairly standard there with your hookers. Liam Knight, another one there who's fallen into the trap. Straight away, mate, I see this Utoiki Manu, Parramatta player who's signed with the West Tigers next year. Doubtful on the minutes, mate. He is in that top 30 squad, I think, now. He did get an upgrade to his contract, so well done to him, but I'm just not too sure he's going to get time on the park early in the season. A lot of hype around this guy. He's only 18 years old, I think. And, a lot of teams are sort of trying to chase him down. And I know Parramatta were trying to secure him for a few years, but he's chosen to sign with the West Tigers. Your back row there, fairly solid as well. Again, we see that you haven't spent too much in the 13 spot with Tarpanay there. But Sewer, Saifidi, I like Saifidi on the bench. As Brent spoke about in the team reveal, unfortunately, due to injuries and off-field concerns, Saifidi hasn't been able to show his true potential so far in his career. But we both rate him a little bit higher than his brother Daniel. And Daniel's been starting for the Knights the last 2 seasons and played rep footy. So he could be one to watch and one to make some money out of. But, mate, from what I see here, there's not too much money in your forwards. Obviously, you've gone a little bit cheaper with Liam Knight, gone a little bit cheaper with Tarpanay there. You must have some money here in the backs, Mitch. So I'm going to actually like this team. Let's flick the page, mate. All right, so Mitch Moses. Billy Walters, very, very interesting. I know he went okay in the Nines. I just personally don't see him getting a spot in the West Tigers towards the start of the season. Maybe a little bit sort of, anywhere from round 7 or 8 onwards. I think Benji's there. Look, I think despite the off-field drama with Josh Reynolds, I think he slots back in there. If he's injury-free, Joshy Reynolds is a very, very boisterous player, very good player. I would probably move away from Walters. SJ there in the 6, which is nice. I actually thought you'd have a little bit better here in your back line, but you've gone with Tuivasa Sheck in your fullback. So you've gone the 2 guns there, and probably the first team I've seen with RTS. So he's shown in past seasons, mate, he's as good as your Turbos and Trebojeviches. Your Turbos and your Teddies. Probably just doesn't have the high ceiling that they do. Definitely has that sort of 80 to 90 game in him most weeks. But you never really see him sort of score that 130, 140. Croker, look, I think his career is sort of definitely on the downward spiral, so I wouldn't have him in there. Brenko Lee, still 50-50 on this guy. At the Melbourne Storm, you've obviously got Justin Olam, Marion Seve, and Brenko Lee all fighting for those 2 centre spots. It looks like Olam will get one of them, and it'll be between Brenko and Marion Seve for the other one. I've got to lean towards Seve just because of his history at the club, unless Brenko has come on board down there and absolutely turned, things around and sort of, gotten Craig Bellamy on his side. Jason Saab, again, another one unlikely to play round 1. Tommy Talau, look, obviously there's talk again of this Momirovski and Harry Grant switch happening. I'm not too sure that it will, but if it does, it might happen a few weeks into the season. So, yeah, again, we've got until that June 30 deadline. Tommy Talau probably won't play. Xavier Coates won't play. Lalesio won't play. So, look, you've got a little bit of cash to spend there. I look at this team and I know you've gone two guns in the back row position, but I think you must have a little bit of cash left over, maybe 100 or 200K. But yeah, I'd have to do the math. Look, I'm going to give the diamond to RTS, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Absolutely. Definitely deserves a diamond, this bloke. Cracking player. He will, make the Warriors and probably the Roosters Hall of Fame because he had a huge impact at both clubs. I don't know whether he's ever won a premiership, and if he goes out of his career without winning a premiership, it'll be one of the biggest disasters since Nathan Hindmarsh not winning a premiership. I'm going to give the pimp hand to Billy Walters. I just don't think he's ready yet. I don't think he's there yet. I think probably he needs another season, ideally. But if he does get the opportunity, I think it'll be about halfway through 2020. Who we got next, mate?
All right, I'm going to have to zoom in on this one. I just had it written as Power. His surname's Power.
Power. Okay, so Stephen Power. Yeah, so Stephen, mate, thanks very much. Stephen commented on a couple of our pages that are on Facebook and gave us an awesome recommendation, mate. So, look, really appreciate something like that. We don't have too many sent through on PC, which is this, but very, very interesting approach here. As you can see, we see another name that we haven't seen so far in Harry Grant as the bench hooker and Blake Brayley at the top dollar of $201,000 as your starting hooker. So very, very interesting approach there, buddy. And the reason he's actually gone a little bit cheaper there, you'll see, is in his bench back row. He's probably got the strongest back row money-wise that I've seen. Ryan Madison, Billy Kickout, Dave Fafita, all potential guns or, semi-guns. But then Lachlan Fitzgibbon, past gun, Lucy Leilua, upcoming player, and Joseph Tarpanay. So he has spent a little bit of extra money there. We also see in the front row Andrew Fafita. Look, Andrew Fafita is walking wounded, mate. His knee is shot. He needs surgery desperately. I think he'll probably either have to retire or have that surgery at some stage this season or next season. Look, there's a lot of... We've said this over the last couple of seasons with Andrew Fafita. We talk about when he's injured and then he just comes out and puts in a 90-point game. But what's happening is he can't do that every week for 26 weeks of the year, and that's what we need from our super coaches. So $550,000 is probably the lowest Fafita's been in a long, long time price-wise. But obviously a Sharky, I'm a big fan of the guy. I think he's one of our best, one of the best players, props ever to play the game. With how athletic he is, his offloads, his ability to score tries, a lot of other players wouldn't, typically that grand final try. So, yeah, I do like him. Solid enough team so far, mate. Just a little bit, obviously, weak in that hooker with Harry Grant. Definitely not guaranteed a spot for week one. Moving down to your back line here, and again, we see Billy Walters there. Look, we spoke about this, and you actually replied about Phoenix Crossland, and I think Tommy Talau might have been. Bradman Best. So Phoenix Crossland and Bradman Best. Thoughts were there from yourself, Steve, that they'd be back after round one. So just having them in there. I'm just not too sure Phoenix Crossland gets a spot anytime soon. I think the Kurt Mann experiment with him at 5'8" will last a little bit longer, but I definitely think the right person for that position at the Knights is Mason Lino. Mitchell Pearce and Mason Lino, I think, is their best halves combination by a country mile. I don't see Phoenix Crossland getting a spot anytime soon. Bradman Best, on the other hand, yeah, he will. So if the guys who have sort of got his spot, the Shibasakis and that, don't perform, when he is right to come back, he will, walk straight back into that side. I don't think it'll be round two. I'm probably thinking more round 4 or 5 at this stage. When he did do the fractured foot there some weeks back, they gave him sort of 8 to 12 weeks depending on the healing time. And now 8 weeks was round 2, like you say. But I've heard out of camp that it's not healing as good as they'd hoped. So Yeah, mate, very, very interesting backline here with your starting centres in Nofaluma, Joey Leilua, Nick Kotrick, and Shibashaki. Yeah, look, again, I've made my points clear on Shibasaki. I wouldn't have him in there. Love Joey Leilua, mate. Powerhouse while he's happy at West Tigers. So the fact that he's gone there, new team, new environment. We saw it at Canberra the first season. He absolutely destroyed people. Could do the same again. He's got no Faluma outside him. This could be an absolute massive combination. I read somewhere they're calling it Lele Luma for Lucy Leilua, Joey Leilua, and No Faluma. So I like that. I can't remember the guy who came up with it on Facebook there, but shout out to him. And look, Nick Kotrick, I'm not a fan of this. He's had his chance over the last couple of years to prove himself SC relevant. Now, he is a rep player. He is, solid enough, but his work rate is just not what it needs to be for a solid rugby league player in the NRL. So I'm actually going to give the pimp hand to Nick Kotrick. And I'm going to give the diamond to your fullback there in Ryan Pappenhausen. Look, Pappenhausen, absolutely huge last year. I think he'll turn into another gun. He will get to over 700K at some stage during the season. Absolutely guarantee it. And I'm going to give the pimp hand to Nick Kotrick. Who we got next, pal?
Reece Tyne.
All right. So, yeah, Reece sent his team through in the last day or two. So, thanks very much, Reece, for jumping on the BJ and Game Day page and sending this through to me. As we can see there, everything's fairly straightforward. Sean Kepi, one that we've seen previously in one of the previous Pimp My Team videos. Now, the first person who sent him through actually, I gave him a bit of a bag in Sean Kepi, but since I've actually watched a trial for him and looked into him a little bit more, I have sort of reversed my decision on that. I think he's probably not the worst cheapie in the world. Now that Jake Trbojevic is slated to come back though in round one, it probably puts him on the way out again as well. So keep an eye on Teamless Tuesday for that one. Paddy Garrigan in the front row. Look, you're not going to go wrong there if he does get that 80 minutes. Alex Glenn out. Offa Hengawi out. Let's just hope he performs and holds that starting spot. Solid here with your back row. Arrow, Brown, and Fafita. Victor Radley looks... Oh, actually, I think Reece might have mentioned that he swapped Radley for Liam Knight. I'm really torn here. Really. Because I think they're both shit cunts.
Torn between two hatreds.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Radley, put it this way. I agree with my fellow super coaches that Liam Knight has potential. And I think based on that comment, I'm not going to say how much potential, but I think he's got more potential to make money and have a better scoring average than Victor Radley. So I've got a fucking March fly in here and he's pissing me off. Fucking horsefly. Yeah, so Victor Radley, couldn't have him myself. That's probably the thing I'd pick out most, mate. Again, Kepi a little bit, but yeah, solid team so far. Jump over to the back line, mate. Who we got? All right, so Mitch Moses, yeah, Billy Walters we've spoken about. Jackie Whiten's a new one. Okay, so AJ Brimson. Yeah. Look, AJ Brimson, he's. I haven't looked at the rest of your team yet, but he's going to get the pimp hand here. He needs to be better. He came on board at the Titans when they needed some of that sort of X-factor player, the Teddies, and again, not everyone can be that talented, but he just hasn't shown enough to be Supercoach relevant. I think he's a solid enough player for the Titans in what they need, but you got to remember this team went 4 and only 4 wins last year, and South Sydney have signed their best player in Jai Arrow for the season 2021 and beyond. So he just needs to be better. If Titans can have a 10-win season or an 11-win season, then this guy's a chance to be a keeper in people's teams because it'll be on the back of some of his play. Jackie Whiten, look, big fan. Jackie, we've spoken about him in the past. Really, really big fan of his game and how he factors into the Raiders. he just got better and better. I don't think I've ever seen anyone other than probably Darren Lockyer debut at 6 after a career at number 1 with any more effect. So kicking game's brilliant, defence is brilliant, line-breaking abilities, try set-up. Jack Whiten has got it all. So he's probably not the quickest bloke on the park, but he's very, very solid player. So I'm sure he's up for another huge season again, Jack Whiten. Probably hasn't established himself as one of those Supercoach guns just yet, but there's definitely that potential there. On your back line here, another new face that we haven't seen so far, I think, in Braden Burns. So very nice there. Jesse Ramian. Callum Watkins, another one. Now, Callum, I actually spoke to Brent about this guy earlier in the week. Probably the amount of non-cheapies available in the centre wings has made me look towards him. If you asked me about 6 weeks ago, I'd never really considered him. Then I actually saw him play in one of the Titans trials. I think it might have been against the Broncos. He had a couple of runs there where he's absolutely got lightning speed. So this is a player who's come over from the UK. Very, very big centre winger, tall fella, but heaps of speed off the standing mark. So I'm actually interested to see what this guy does. And depending on sort of how my team balances out with Team List Tuesday, he could find a spot in my centre wings for the start of the season. Tristan Saylor, Tommy Taleha, Terrell Fuimaono. Probably Fuimaono, the only chance there to get a round 1 spot, so I'd look at dumping off the other 2 guys. It has been confirmed that Tristan Saylor will play in the halves for St George's New South Wales Cup side. And very, very solid here on the bench with Ryan Pappenhausen and Kalen Ponga. A very similar fullback position for Brent Hampton as well. Have we got any left, mate? One left? Oh, hang on. Diamond and Pimp Hand. Diamond and Pimp Hand. All right, so let's go back to the forwards for me. All right, so we're going to give the, we already gave to Liam Knight. We're going to give the Pimp Hand to Victor Radley. Absolutely. Slap that bitch, silly. And let's jump over to the back line. I'm going to give a diamond to my boy, Jackie Whiten. Love the bloke, so yeah, big fan. And I'm sure he's going to have a cracker of a season, so he gets a diamond. Who else we got, mate? Who's next?
I think that's it.
8 through, nice and easy. Another Pimp My Team episode. What are we calling this one, mate?
I don't know. I'll probably just get lazy with it because I'm pretty tired and just go Return of the Pimp. But
it's up to you, mate. It's up to you. You've already got the font there ready to go.
I do.
I mean,
but everything is now Star Wars font. Ever since I got that.
Yeah, I know, mate. I was looking at that and I thought, hang on, we're going a little bit too far. Star Wars here.
Star Wars font forever.
Fair enough. All right, I'll let you're the guru behind the computer, mate. I'll let you make that call. Fair enough. I was a little bit concerned though. The team reveal one, mate, was in white rather than yellow.
Well, I need to still keep with the colour scheme for the thumbnail, so
yeah, fair enough. But guys, that's it for another episode. So hopefully you 8 blokes can take some benefit out of that Pimp My Team. As I say, we've spoken about a few things via direct messenger on Facebook there. Guys and girls, that will be it for Team Fix Up, Pimp My Team. We're about 5 days out from Team List Tuesday. I'm not going to do any more.
This will probably come out Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah. By all means, guys, send me through your teams on Facebook. Text them to me, post them on a comment or whatever. But we're just going to wrap that up with the Pimp My Team videos because we're running steam and the season hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to going back to one show a week. But also, too, just a bit of a milestone. Thanks, everyone, for subscribing. We hit the 300 earlier today.
Yes. 300.
Yeah.
I want it all. I want it all.
So, thanks for everyone to subscribing. And please keep sharing the videos. And
now, just before we go, mate, one of the other guys actually... one of the guys reached out to me on Facebook, Mark Hindle. We actually did Marky's video on one of the other Pimp My Teams. he just sort of asked me about week to week how to get involved with the show and things like that. So, guys, if you've ever got any questions or anything like that, hit me up on Facebook. I'm more than happy to run a Q&A on each video and a week to week on anyone you think you might want to get in. Who to captain, form, things like that. Guys, any questions, we can put them all up.
Comments on the videos as well.
Yeah, look, comments on the videos. We will mention these comments. I can't say that each week we will mention all of them, but we'll give it a good crack. And obviously, we've had our sort of fans right from the start, your Big Teds and your Martys and those guys. And we're going to mention them as well because they've been with us from the start. But we do want to mention everyone that's new. So
yeah, because someone actually asked a comment, and I didn't want to answer it because I'm not one of the experts about Croker, and you answered that tonight. What your thoughts of him are? So
yeah,
if you do leave comments, we might not be able to respond to all of them, but we'll try and shove the answers into the shows as we go.
Absolutely. But guys, that's it for another episode. Thanks very much for joining BJ on Game Day. Not long now. We're about a few days out from the season. So everyone get your teams ready. Keep an eye out for Team List Tuesday, 4 o'clock on Tuesday. All of them come out. Everything will be revealed. And no doubt all the players we're umming and ahhing over will be named in the 18 to 21 spot and piss us off even more. So wait and see. Cheers, guys. Hey guys, Joshy here. Thanks very much for joining us for another episode of BJ on Game Day. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube for all your notifications. If you do want to follow us on Facebook, you can find us there at BJ on Game Day, and on Twitter we're at BJ on Game Day as well. So guys, we'd really like your support with that. Follow us so we can know you guys are enjoying the content. Thanks very much.